Hey guys. So welcome back to Derm Dialogues. So this is actually a new Instagram live series that I just started last week. And the concept is that once a week I'm going to be inviting a guest, someone who inspires me, to come on and spend about 30 minutes talking to me about some hot topics in skincare, some things that are trending, questions that you guys have. Today I'm really excited. I have an amazing guest who's going to be joining me to talk about cannabis and CBD and how it relates to skincare. And she's also, hey Gianna, she's also just a mom and a female founder. She's an entrepreneur. Hey mom. And I just think it's really cool. I met her, there she is. So she's actually joining from Poplar, Popl.
Poplar it's a digital platform that she founded that is basically there she is.
Hi.
There she is.
Hi.
How are you? I'm so excited to have you. Beryl, first of all, like your name rocks. My mom is watching and I know mom, like seriously, why didn't you call me Beryl? Like I love wit, it's great. But Beryl's definitely got a whole other level of cool to it. I love your
You.
name.
I had to kick my kids out. So sorry I was a minute late. I was like, get out.
Mine literally just got the boot. So yeah. I'm right there with you. So I'm delighted to have you. I was just telling people who are tuning in that you founded Poplar, which is one of the hottest digital platforms talking about cannabis and CBD and doing it. So an online retailer, right? So you carry all these different brands of CBD that are both ingestible as well as topical, like skincare, as well as things that you can, eat, vape, chocolate,
Oh,
whatever,
yeah.
right? And then you also provide content. So I think you provide education. And I think, something that I talk to my followers about all the time is like transparency. And, the only way that you can really be your own best advocate is by understanding and going through that journey of education. And the fact that you're sort of doing that, especially in this space where I feel like we all need some educating in this space. Hats off to you. So I would love to dive right in, and because I know we only have 30 minutes together, but tell me about your journey. Tell me about you. Tell me about Beryl Solomon, where you started, how you got to that day where you decided, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go there and basically launch this e-commerce platform.
Yeah, so in 2018, I added cannabis to my health and wellness routine. I lost a brother and was diagnosed with PTSD. And after, working with a therapist and going through a bunch of things, I was ultimately given, a pharmaceutical drug to sort of help come over the hump. I was on an antidepressant for quite some time. I had my children, my two boys, who I just kicked out of the house with
I can't even imagine.
7. I sent them out of the house for this, but I had my babies. I was working in fashion. I was, high level in a variety of companies. And it's actually, I was actually getting my IUD because I was like, okay, I'm done. Like,
I'm done. Okay.
getting my IUD, and she was like, well, do you want the kinds like, with or without hormones? And I was like, well, like I try to be as free and clear as possible. So just like, let's not, like, if it's unnecessary, of course we discussed the benefits. And she was like, well, yeah, I mean, everything except for the Prozac. And I was like, huh. Like I had just been taking this pill and it was working, and I had honestly never thought about it again because and there are lots, I always do sort of asterisk this story with like, there are times that people need antidepressants. This is not, my story is not that all pharmaceutical drugs are bad. Okay. There's everything. But for me, I was like, oh my God, well, let's go off of this. And she was like, okay, we'll go talk to this doctor, whatever. So I started making my rounds, and my doctors looked at me and they were just like, we don't recommend women in their, late 30s, now in their early 40s. Like, we don't recommend women who live in New York, who, work, who have small children, go off their antidepressants. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I was like, I'm sorry. Can you say? And it was the first time, listen, I'm a very privileged white woman. I have grown up with all sorts of privilege, and I have never really questioned if doctors are out for my best interest. I'm very lucky to be in that situation where that's never been something I've questioned. And for the first time, and someone was like, I was told that.
That's my sister. That's my sister who just chimed in. She was told the same thing. So you are not alone.
And I was just like,
what kind of blanket recommendation is that? Based on what?
Like, literally, like, I'm sorry, what? So for the first time, I was like, well, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and do my own research and understand what my options are, just like I would with buying a couch or, like all the other things. Like, now we have, and I started.
Good for you.
And I started my own journey, and every search, like cannabis, I was just like, even that was like,
You're back.
Did I go away?
Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's good. You went away.
Maybe they bleeped me because I said weed, the like big brothers of Instagram are watching or something.
But, is that maybe?
I think it was just cool. But I hadn't touched cannabis since college, and that was definitely recreational. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know, this feels like very dirty and hippie and like not really my speed. Like,
No, girl.
I
Okay.
met with. Do I keep jumping in and out?
You're freezing a little bit. I don't know if it's okay. I'm hanging on your every word. I'm loving everything that you're saying. It's so honest and so transparent. I feel like so many people can relate to this. So I'll hang with you. If
all right, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I closed my computer. Maybe I was running too many things at the same time. So let's see if that works. So
okay.
But in any case, I did my research. I traveled out to California and visited some friends and was like, take me to a dispensary. Like, I want to have this experience.
Yeah,
and
I want to learn. I want to be, yeah, exactly.
I applied for my medical card in New York.
Okay.
And I really was like, I want to understand. And I felt going through that process, there was no guide. There was no Sherpa. There was no one to tell me what to try, how to try it, what to do. And the things that were telling me were, I put in one of 3 classifications. They were
Come back.
I really wanted for a platform that spoke to me, and I didn't think that there was anything out there. And I turned to my husband and I was like, so I'm gonna start a weed website. And he was like, wait, what? What? And and we've definitely, obviously the idea has evolved since that moment at my kitchen table, but I turned to
Does he have a business background? Like, would he be helping you in any way?
Well, he's a lawyer, which is helpful.
That's so helpful. My sister's a lawyer. I feel like having a lawyer in the family is, so the topic, oh guys, I have to do that. I'm so sorry. So let me see if I can pin this.
Oh, no.
Everyone's like, what are you guys talking about?
Very-
This sounds exciting. Okay, let me CBD in skincare, and let me see if I can hold that down and pin it.
Oh, and our web, do you want, is shop-poplar. Whoever asked.
Here, I tagged everything in the actual post, and when I don't know what we're talking about. Buzz due to poor connection, reconnecting. Okay. Oh gosh, I hope the connection stays better.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So your husband's a lawyer. So I seriously, Mom, thank you for forcing Doran, kicking and screaming, into the field of law. I have to say, having a lawyer in your fam that you can, I think having a doctor too, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
But having a lawyer is even better, because it's just one of those things, things just come up, and I think it's always very challenging to reach out to attorneys because the fees just rack up so quickly. And half the time they can't translate things. I'm a pretty smart person. When I'm on the phone with attorneys, I'm like, you are not speaking English. And my sister somehow knows how to translate like lawyer speak into like Whitney speak. So yeah, it's very, very helpful. So that's so nice that you have a husband who's an attorney. Okay, so you turn to him and you're like, I'm gonna do this. Like so you wanted something that was for you. Like there's obviously there's an unmet need, right? You're looking as an educated woman, you're looking to, you know, to find a way to explore this world of CBD in a way that you feel like it's safe, you feel like you're getting good quality, you feel like it's like vetted. You need direction, and there was nothing out there. So you were saying like, how do I navigate this world? And you weren't willing to just like casually take risks on your body. You're a mother of 2 children, you know, so you're responsible, and you're like, but I know I need this. Like, I know, and I'm sure during COVID, people started exploring cannabis and CBD in a way that they had never even thought that they would go to, right? But when you have that need, all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait a second, like I have to take this seriously and I have to educate myself. So that's the day that you decided to do it.
That was my aha moment. And I mean, it's evolved. Obviously, like Poplar has evolved from there. But the initial idea, exactly to your point, was like, how do I know what to buy? Like and so it was like, how do we, and knowing that we would start with CBD, and eventually, like once it's legal in New York, move on to cannabis as well. Like that was always the goal. But how do you know what you're buying? Like, how can you trust? And I kept saying, right, like, how do you know that your Louis Vuitton isn't fake? Well, you know, it comes with a card. You buy it from a thing, like, right?
Right.
So the analogy I kept giving was the net-a-porter of. Now, there are some challenges with that analogy that we've really worked to like not just be fancy, not just be expensive.
Yeah, you want to be accessible and affordable. I think Net-a-Porter is awesome if you're willing to spend like $2,000 online, you know, which the casual shopper probably isn't ready. So you want it to be affordable, but I love that idea of, I guess, curated, right? Like what is your system? What do you do to sort of vet the products before you decide to sell them?
So much. So first of all, I recently brought on a co-founder, an amazing.
Shoot, is she for you guys?
Process recently, but previously, every single thing. I mean, and still, actually, this part is still true. I try personally every single product before it is added to the site. So I also have a group of people that test it. But specifically, I try it because I want to be able to say personally, like as an individual, like I used this and this is what it did, or I didn't pick your line and this is why. Right. You know, everything from obviously like the you know, the packaging and the look and feel to the smell to also the efficacy of the actual product. So everything
say you're a consumer, you're picking up a skincare product, you look at it, like what are you looking at to, is there a dose, is there a concentration, is there a certification, is there, like, how do you know that you're getting good quality CBD if you're, you know, we know that the skin absorbs to some degree, but if you're putting something under your tongue, you're ingesting it. Like, what do you look for to sort of vet that you know that this is like an authentic, good quality product?
So CBD products are not vetted by the FDA. So there is no national or international body that is certifying these products. And that, quite honestly, was where in my opinion as a consumer, where the problem began, because I was like, wait a minute, no one is doing the hard, like the due diligence for me. And I'm now going to go and do the heavy lifting for every single brand and every single product. Like that just seems like there must be a better way. And that's really why, so we require third-party testing for every single product we have on the site. Okay. We even go so far as to things like we call the testing lab and verify that the person who signed that test report really works at that testing lab. I mean, some of it's just like normal, like due diligence common sense.
You're
But
like checking on the supply chain. It's almost like you're doing like an audit. You know, it's like, hey, surprise, I just want to like check a couple of these things to make sure that this isn't some weird operation in somebody's basement, you know, where who knows what contaminants are in this product.
that's exactly right. So yeah, and I mean, and then there are like just some good guardrails that we've developed over time. I mean, I won't sell any brand that I don't get on the phone with the founder. I don't care how big your brand is. I don't care, you know, how busy your schedule is. Like, you know, and I think that's that's what our customers want and need now. You know, they want to know that there's a person on the other end who is looking out for their best interest. And so, you know, I feel like then we owe that to our customers. So obviously I have a team that helps with the paperwork and things of that nature, but like, you know, even if my initial order is small units, if a brand won't, you know, if a founder, if it's not important enough to answer my questions, and I'll stay quite brief, you know, then that's not a brand we're going to represent or sort of scream to the rooftops to our customers that they should invest in, you know, because even when you're talking about things that aren't that expensive, you're talking about rebuying them, you're talking about, to your point, ingesting them. Like, these are personal things. You're putting them on your body. I mean, your skin, the biggest organ of your body, like all these things, it's going into you. So don't you want to know what's in it? Just like you want to know what's in your, you know, more run of the mill beauty products or wellness supplements, et cetera, et cetera. So there is fine body. You know, we require third-party testing. We require information. So all of our products that include CBD, because we actually just expanded our offering to include additional products, not just CBD. But everything that has CBD in it identifies where the CBD is from, what type of CBD it is, if it's sun-grown, if it's indoor grown, like just some details on it, which some customers don't care about, and that's okay. But we want them to know we know what those things mean, we care, and we've done the research.
So somebody actually asked a question about what is the difference between CBD and hemp seed oil. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so hemp seed oil does not have, so CBD is a cannabinoid. There are more than 120 known cannabinoids, which are all different, the elements that all of them come from cannabis. Now, there's a difference. So THC is one of them. CBD is one of them. Those are all cannabinoids. And there's a million others. And you'll start, well, not a million. There's 120 something that we know about, but we're discovering more and more as we go forward. So you'll start to hear about CBG. You'll start to hear about, there's a bunch of different cannabinoids that we call the more minor cannabinoids that will eventually get their day in the sun. There's a great meme that was going around that was like a picture of CBD talking to THC, and it was like, who's your publicist? Like, whoever your publicist is, like, you know, like I want in on that, you know, like CBD just caught fire, but there's a lot of them, and a lot of the special sauce is how you combine the cannabinoids to create a product that's unique.
So that brings up, we got another question about like full spectrum versus like, what are those words, and how do you sort of define those and know what you're going for?
Perfect. So just to finish, hemp seed oil does not have CBD in it. It is.
Oh, thank you.
It's also good for your skin because hemp seed oil is able to regulate whether you're oily or not oily. It understands what your skin needs. It actually has nothing to do with CBD. I mean,
I think hemp seed oil is very moisturizing. It's a hydrating ingredient, but so just because something has hemp seed oil does not mean that there's any CBD. So when you're looking at the INCI list, when you're looking at the ingredient list, do you look for the word cannabidiol to know that there's definitely CBD in that product?
Yes.
Okay.
Every reputable brand, every reputable company should not only have that listed on their ingredient list, but should also specifically note how much is in that bottle. If they're not telling you the milligrams, it's typically milligrams of CBD in each bottle, don't take it. That is like, and you'll be able to take, 50% off the list right then and there. If it doesn't tell you, it's no good.
Let me see. I think somebody asked if you're going to be starting taking it by mouth. Wow, we have a lot of interested people in this. I love this. I love the engagement here. as an ingestible, what's their starting dose? And is it something they should take as needed? Or is it something that you should be taking every single day? So the starting dose and how to take it.
Okay, so I'm going to start with how to take it because that's an easier question to answer than the dosage. How to take it, CBD is best taken like a vitamin. Take it every single day if you're taking it orally. So great question. The way that doesn't mean you won't feel any effects if you take it, you know, one day and you wait 6 days or whatever, but to feel the best effects, you should take it every single day. And it typically takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for you to start to feel the benefits. Because one of the main things that CBD does, so the two main things CBD does are reduces inflammation and returns your body to homeostasis. So we'll talk about inflammation specifically from skin. That's why it's good for your skin. But returning your body to homeostasis essentially means anxiety, pain, all as well as inflammation affects pain. So all of those things essentially, like, you know, it's all interconnected. There's no, oh, it just fixes this. So that's when people are like, how can CBD do all of these things? Well, it's not that it does all of these things. It's that it's helping your body regulate. So, oh, that's a good question. In the morning, if you take, it depends what you take. It won't make you sleepy. If it's just CBD, it won't make you sleepy. But there are cannabinoids and other botanicals that are added that will make it more sleepy time, like myrcene, as an example. So we have some products that are specifically for sleep, just to answer that question. Because
the question, just for you guys who are watching it after the live and can't see the comments, it was, if I take CBD in the morning, will it make me sleepy? So your answer is, if it's just CBD, no. But if there are other compounds and botanicals that are added to it, like if the product is marketed as a PM product, it might be because there are these other additives. You're back. So what's
okay.
so interesting, because I just want to weigh in, because I know you kept saying, like, we'll get back to the skin. But for people who have read The Beauty of Dirty Skin or who follow me, I'm always talking about the brain-skin connection, because our anxiety, our stress levels actually have a direct impact on our skin and the health of our skin. So actually, I have a lot of patients who don't use CBD in their skincare, but do take it as an ingestible and have seen a benefit in their skin because they feel like their anxiety and their stress levels are better managed. And so, you know, their cortisol levels, like, as a result, because their psychological stress is not being manifested as physical inflammation in the skin, like acne, you know, dryness, dehydration in the skin. There are different ways that CBD can benefit the skin. But topically, it's interesting. I know you carry a lot of, and I want to make sure we have time for some of the products that you wanted to share with us today, because when it comes to topical skincare and CBD, there are some studies showing that, again, CBD dials down inflammation, and in the skin, that can be good for things like acne. It can be good for rosacea. It can be good for sensitive skin. And there's also some studies showing that it can regulate oil production too. So I know I have some patients who are starting to use it for, you know, if they have oily or acne prone skin. It can help with itching too. I think it affects the histamine release. Like, it's a very early, the science behind CBD and skincare is very early, but, you know, I'm sure you're seeing there's a lot of anecdotal sort of stories behind it really helping with certain skin conditions.
Yeah, it's the science has not caught up to the anecdotal evidence. And sometimes that's frustrating to people because they want to be able to point to exactly what it is. And, you know, people looking for solutions who have significant issues aren't willing to necessarily wait for the science, right? So we have this weird situation where products are evolving and a market is evolving before the regulations and the science can even catch up, which is, from an anthropological perspective, just fascinating. But
it is. So we just, because we only have a few minutes left, you've got to share some of the products with us and tell us how to use, because we're getting a bunch of questions here about, you know, what's the best product to use in the morning for inflammation? What's the best product to use in the evening? When should I use this? Like, So just walk us through some of the products and how to use them.
So I picked some of my favorite skincare products. I'll also give you
Okay.
like 5 seconds on products in general, but I will give you, and I'll do it in order of how I use them. So these are products that I use every day. I tried to pick ones nicer than the ones that had been in my cabinet, but these are Verte cleansing pads. So essentially, it comes in this glass jar.
And guys, I'll link these below so that you know how to find them.
And it literally just looks like a pad. It's already wet. It has CBD and witch.
She's freezing. Oh, there you are.
Every morning. Oh, you can see the little blush I put on to look presentable. Every morning and every evening, this is what I use. You don't need to wash it with water. So this is perfect if you throw it in your gym bag, like when we used to go to the gym. It's
when we're always on the go.
Exactly.
Hopefully we'll be back there soon.
It's super.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my go-to. It takes off pollutants, irritants, makeup, dirt. This is like my go-to. So there are these micro.
And does that say how much CBD is in, like, does it list it? It says like
50 pads, 5 milligrams per pad, 25 milligrams premium hemp isolate.
and if you turn it around to the inky list, like the ingredient list, it'll say cannabidiol.
Exactly. So this
Okay.
comes with a sticker on the bottom that I took off because I unwrapped it that has it.
Okay.
And every product we sell, we list online every single ingredient. So there's
Okay, I love it.
oh, and it,
You're back. You're back.
I'm so sorry.
It's keeping it exciting.
Yeah.
I lose you, then you're back, then I lose you. I mean, you're just keeping me on my toes. All right.
40.
So yeah, we're getting requests to tell about the products and where to get them. Like I will absolutely make sure to tag the brands underneath and make sure that you guys know which brand she's talking about, which product she's talking about.
And this is $42, which also, PS, great price, right? And you can use them. So like we try to also really focus on accessible, simple solutions because I think that's how modern day people are living their life, right? So
transparency, accessibility, affordability, like that. There's so many things just about the fact that you're going in those directions that I really value. I think that's great.
Thank you. I'm loving the comments, so I'm getting distracted, but I want to finish. So this is a face serum. It's called the Zen Face Serum. It's by a brand. And LD Pecker, the 3 brands I'm highlighting, all had products before the CBD craze. So that's the other thing. I love understanding brand stories so I can share them, and the people who really understand plant medicine are, have been doing this for years. They are not just jumping on a bandwagon. They're not, the person from Colgate who's like, I have a great idea. Let's put CBD in our toothpaste. Really, like these are practitioners and homeopaths and that understand ingredients. So this is an amazing face oil. One of my favorite things about it is actually how affordable it is. So this is this is 50 milliliters, this bottle, and it's $80. So it lasts a really long time. So, and it has, again, like literally everything on the front in terms of ingredients. It says CBD, like it has all of the information on the outside. So I just put a smidge on. Summer, it's not too heavy for me, but if you're super oily, it might be, but every night, definitely.
Okay.
And then the third product I picked out to show you, and I picked a new one because mine I keep in my handbag and it's pretty grimy. This is one of my favorites. So this is a brand called LD Pecker. So it's actually a roller ball and the tip is rose quartz. And it just smells amazing. I'm not a perfume person. And I just looked at the brand I use. See, nothing like that is listed. I'm getting.
So somebody just listed a comment. Wow, I looked at the brand I use and nothing like that is listed. they're not saying, what is in it. And so, I think that that's so great that you can look at the products and know and have the transparency and have, what, and sometimes guys, it might be too small on the label of the product itself. You may have to go online on the website, but if the website doesn't list exactly what's in the product, then you can call them out on it. Like you can say, I need you to be more transparent. And a big one is parfum and fragrance. That's a pet peeve of mine, because you can say fragrance free and you can actually have lots of fragrances in them. So it's the whole fragrance world is very complicated. But the word parfum and the word fragrance can actually hide between like 20 and 100 different ingredients that you have no idea what you're even using. So it's all about transparency and having the brands that are willing to just disclose exactly what's in their product. So it sounds like that's part of your vetting process, that you really care about that.
Yes, exactly. And now some people, right, and some people also, because she just said, oh my God, but it has all these ingredients and they advertise third-party testing. It also becomes super complicated, and this is a nuance, but people also want to drive traffic and advertise on Facebook and Instagram, and they won't let CBD businesses advertise on Facebook and Instagram. So you also have some brands that are trying to shift their ingredient list. It may actually have CBD in it, but they got dinged. And so they changed it to hemp oil so that they could advertise. So it's this bizarre, again, like the rules have not caught up with each other. And you have people like me saying, we need clarity on ingredients. I'm not going to suggest your product unless you're super clear and transparent. And on the other hand,
meanwhile, the brands can't sell because they can't promote on some of the biggest social media forums, because they get knocked off if they actually are transparent. So, wow. So obviously the regulations need to change.
The regulations need to change. They need to catch up. It's real. And that's why we created Poplar, because the landscape is confusing and it is changing all the time. I mean, last summer there was a whole hoopla with, can you have it in edibles in New York? It was in every coffee shop, but it was also illegal. What was it? And and it's confusing, and even the lawyers don't know, and it's wild.
Even your husband and my sister don't know.
I know.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I feel like I'm going to try to post this on my grid, and I wonder if my whole Instagram site is going to come crashing down. It's worth it. I'm going to try. Beryl, I'm so glad you came. This is like so incredible. I feel like we keep getting so many questions. So guys, if we haven't gotten to your question today, then definitely list it underneath the live. And, Beryl can even chime in, please do.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so, so informative, and hopefully I'll have you back and we can take a deeper dive on some of these topics, okay?
Apologies for my technical difficulty. Hopefully it kept it exciting.
Oh, it did. It did. All right, guys, take care. Everybody stay safe and be well. Bye-bye now.